If you're listening to this, there's a good chance you work within the real estate investing industry. There's another good chance that you would like to increase the sales of your products or services. Well, you're in the right place. United States Real Estate Investor is a platform you need to place your brand directly in front of your target audience. With our focused, growing audience of real estate investing beginners, enthusiasts, and seasoned professionals, you can continually reach our captivated viewers and listeners with ease. To learn more or to get started today, just visit UnitedStatesRealEstateInvestor.com/advertising. That's UnitedStatesRealEstateInvestor.com/advertising. Get ready to increase your brand awareness and your bottom line. Attract clients with content. If you're listening,
welcome to This Month in Real Estate Investing, where we separate the noise out of the news. I'm your host, James Brown, and I show people how they can make safe, secure returns through our pre-vetted passive investments. Feel free to download our ebook, The Astute Investor, Top 10 Mistakes Investors Make and How to Avoid Them. Or you can join our private investor club so you can get exclusive opportunity alerts that we don't advertise to the general public. Just go to acceleratemycapital.com. Also, exciting news. All of our U.S. real estate investing content is now going to be streamed through Real Estate On Air FM, also KGCI, and that's at realestateonair.fm. In this episode, we'll be breaking down a variety of real estate investing news items, including U.S. construction hiring hits 5-year low, Indianapolis fraudster sentenced for real estate Ponzi scheme, and massive home delisting surge freezes housing market. And don't forget, if you're watching live on YouTube, you can share your thoughts and questions during the show. We'll see those and we can jump in and answer them. Let's start the show. All right, we're back. A little bumpy start there. Our guests today are Nathan Turner, back for third time I think.
I think so, yeah.
Claude Diamond and Mike Stoller. Do I have that right, Mike?
You got it.
All right, cool. In that order, let's start with Nathan, then Claude, then Mike. Just kind of tell people about your background in real estate investing.
Yeah, certainly.
Fun, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, great. Yeah, I started in real estate investing in 2005, doing some flipping. And then for the last 15 years, I'm skipping over a lot, but the last 15 years, I've been a mortgage note investor. So I buy residential real estate mortgages all over the country and been doing that for the last 15 years, all from my home office in Canada. Most recently, we put together a fund and we're raising capital for that and allowing people to invest passively in notes.
Great. Claude.
Yeah, hi. My name's Claude Diamond. I've been in real estate, all my life, basically. I love it. I specialized in options and lease options. I eventually started writing books about real estate and sales and marketing as it relates to real estate. Been in business about 32 years, and I'm only 36 years old because I lie about my age. And I think it's the greatest business in the world, whether it goes up or down. I'm very grateful to it. It's given me a great life. And so glad to be invited to this forum. Thank you.
Great to have you. Yeah. Big name in real estate. You speak to my heart with lease options. So, all right, Mike.
Hey, everybody. Mike Stoller, managing partner, Gateway Private Equity Group. I started investing in 1998. I call it the PG, pre-Google days. And I've owned and managed about 1,500 doors. And I made the transition from multifamily. Now we syndicate hotels. We currently have syndications open in Scottsdale, Arizona, and we're going international in Spain.
Interesting. Yeah,
Muy bien. ¿Dónde está la cuarta de baño? Una cerveza, por favor.
I only know how to get another drink, yes. And where's the bathroom? That's
and if you can say that in 8 different languages, you can be an international guy.
There you go.
Love it. Well, thanks for being here, guys. Appreciate you spending time with us. Let's jump right into the news. So our first article is from the World Property Journal. Titles U.S. construction hiring rate drops to lowest levels in 5 years. Saying that there's a 50% annual decrease too in the article for labor demand. Are you guys feeling that in your businesses?
Yeah. You know, what the big project that I have going on in the States is a new build. And the way that we've kind of transitioned in order to get the debt service cover ratios and all that stuff, the great thing about hotels is we're allowed to do different types of loan programs through the government, like USDA, CMBS, SBA. So that helps us in order to get a lower entry point and lower interest rate to help. And plus, you know, we do have to have 40% down, 40% down just to make the things work. But because we have that opportunity, because hotels are a business and not considered real estate, it helps us out there.
Yeah, that's interesting. I was just going to say in the article, it says these stats might have to do with just the slowdown of being seasonal, right? So.
And this is, I think this article was also maybe put out a little bit before the announcement of tariffs on softwood lumber and steel and some of those other construction materials. And so I don't know how much more that's going to affect construction rates and hiring and all those things. And then also deportations. I mean, who are the construction workers in a lot of cases are a lot of these people that are being threatened with deportation. So this is going to be an interesting year as we go forward, and in the next few months especially, just to see how that kind of plays out and what actually gets implemented and what doesn't and to what extent. So it'll be an interesting thing to watch.
Yeah,
I like that word, interesting, because you know, who knows what's going to happen. I'm optimistic. Okay, I wear rose-colored glasses. I think things are going to get better if people get $5,000 back, if the interest rates come down. This might be a great year in our country. We don't know. I only know 2 things about real estate. It goes up and it goes down, and I never know exactly when. And the thing is, can we monetize? Can we make money in all situations? That's what I look for. I'm in residential real estate, either residential land or basically single family houses, condos, things like that. And I've been, you know, I'm old enough. I've been through Desert Storm in 2008 and recessions and depressions. And I've been through all these ups and downs. And the one thing I know that's consistent is you have to change. We're entrepreneurs. We're capable of change. And as long as we adapt to those changes, we can always make money.
Well said.
Yeah.
Yes. We got to be nimble. Yeah, let's just jump to the next one from News Nation. Real estate agent commissions mostly unchanged since new NAR rules, National Association of Realtors, being NAR. Are any of you guys licensed as agents?
No.
I'm the only one.
I guess.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with, so I have a separate project. Mainly what I do is notes, but I have a separate project where we're flipping some houses in California. And I had one conversation with my realtor about this, and we basically just decided, you know what, 6% makes sense for what we're doing and how it's being managed. So we'll just keep going with that. And it hasn't really changed a whole lot. And I don't know if that's everyone's experience, but certainly that's kind of an interesting.
Here in Arizona, I found out that more and more brokers are going with a flat fee. type of a concept. You know, we'll sell your house for $1,200. There's no percentages, and the co-brokes are just, you know, it's the same. They're going with fees instead of commission percentages.
In a lot of cases, I think that makes more sense. But yeah, it really just depends. And I, as somebody who does this on a regular basis, I kind of like the negotiation, but for a regular person, it's going to be confusing.
I like that flat fee concept. Is that becoming very popular now, Mike?
It is. The bigger brokers here in Arizona are and have been flat fee. You look at some of the national online type of brokers, you know, they don't have the physical setups, and I'll sell your house for $500. I'll sell your house for, you know, if it's within a certain price point, it's $500. A certain price point, maybe $750 or $1,000. But it's just, there's no hassles, no negotiation. It's here it is.
So they're specializing.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. I like that idea.
Yeah, I'm starting to make that an option for somebody. Like that percentage thing, you know, this is a discussion I've had with other people. You know, a multi-million-dollar property versus, you know, a mobile home.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's more work to do in high-end luxury, but not percentage significantly more necessarily. So it just makes sense to kind of maybe put some guardrails on that. So
yeah.
Half my clients are in real estate. I do mostly sales training now, sales and marketing. And, you know, the people who are good, the top 10, 20% of their profession, they never have a problem with these changes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But, you know, in the commercial space, I mean, it just kills me. The last hotel I sold, the commission alone was around $400,000.
Oof.
And it's like, you know,
Happy
okay, I need to start getting on that off-market bandwagon and finding buyers. But it was around $400,000 that I had to pay to the broker.
Yeah. Well, something that's interesting with this, you know, the main part of that whole settlement, and there was many different parts of it, was just that the listing agent and that seller, they could not publicly put the commission they were offering to the buyer agent, right?
Yeah.
So they kind of shut that down. They made it more like commercial. Commercial has always been a part of the negotiation, is getting that commission for that buy side agent. And so it's kind of made it, it's always been a negotiation. And that's another fallacy. Like everybody thinks, oh, we're being forced into this commission rate, whatever, whether it's flat fee or percentage. No, it's always been a negotiation with the buyer and the seller. But now the buyer agent has to get an agreement with the buyer to agree to pay out of pocket, possibly, for that buy side commission. Otherwise, they try to get the seller to pay that out of the max purchase price. It sounds so confusing, even when you try to keep it simple, but it's the same as commercial. It's a negotiation, and what they found, like in this report, it hasn't really changed anything. Like average commission from a Redfin report was that it's 2.37% in Q4, just a little bit above where it was in Q3. So it's just it's come down to, you might want to try to get an agent to do a bunch of work for a really low price, and you're going to get what you pay for, right? And if they're not getting paid, they're going to say, pound sand, go somewhere else, or go get another job in another industry or something, right? Like, so we found this balance, I believe, because, you know, there's a value that agent's providing that, you know, a buyer or seller is willing to pay. So it's kind of evened out. So it's kind of an interesting thing. So anyway, I'll get off my soapbox. I could stay on there for a little bit. Let's go to the next article from CBS 42 News in Birmingham. Police say Huntsville real estate agent was abducted. Warrants obtained for 5 in investigation. So this was back in December 15th, 2024. In the article, it says there was security footage showing this guy, agent, going into a liquor store with 2 women and then leaving, and that was it. And then they found his car on the side of the highway, tried to find him by his cell phone tracking, and they still haven't found him. I used ChatGPT. Actually, I'm like, is this old news? Like, you did too, Claude? Yeah,
I didn't. I was curious. I hadn't heard about this story, and my main question to you is, why did you pick this? That's kind of what I was asking. I was wondering why you picked this individual story. What triggered you on this?
ChatGPT.
Yeah, okay.
Probably. I don't know. Antonio, our producer, pulls them up, but
okay.
It had Realtor in the title.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good job.
It's news. You know, that's what's cool about this show is like you see these headlines and it's like, what's significant, what's real, you know, and so we can kind of break it down like, oh, this is dumb. The
bigger article would be, there's always been a problem with realtors being assaulted or abducted while doing an open house.
Yeah.
That would have been something more. And, luckily I'm in Arizona where, when I did sell my properties, when I had lease options and things like that, I could have a sidearm and people think stuff with Arizona, it's like, you don't get a lot of that because 90% of the people are probably armed, and it's just not work. That's why our robberies are down, our murders are down, because our home invasions are down. It's because, chances are you're not going to be successful. But there is a lot of, you need to be worried if you're a woman real estate agent at an open house. That is a true worry that they should at least get some self-defense or have some way of, exit plan.
Yeah.
Have a live camera on. I use portable cameras. What's it called? Wise.
Wise.
Yeah.
We use those in
I
our
have I have them Wise, WYZE, and I have them in all my homes. I live in different states, different times of the year, and I have these live cameras, and they're wonderful. They work off batteries. You don't even have to have them plugged in. So I would suggest to somebody who's doing an open house, hey, have a live camera on. You could even use it to have people take a virtual tour with these cameras today. They're so useful. But you brought up the idea, Mike, maybe just have it as security too. And have somebody watching you or something, or checking in on you.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Like we use Wise cameras for our co-living homes, but if we had ones for like every room, a seller would be like, "Man, this is great," because they're worried somebody's going to be digging through their drawers or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to have these in every room. We're actually switching to another platform too, instead of using showing time, that verifies what's that picture?
That looks cool.
That is my I'm in North Carolina right now, but I also live in Winter Park, Colorado, and 10,000 feet up. They've received 2 feet of snow there. That's a live shot right now. Nice. Outside the front of my house. It's just pretty. Thing is, though, I also have cameras on the inside, and there's by a thermometer, so I always know the temperature while I'm gone. And this is a living room and stuff like that. And and in terms of security, I have a lady who checks the house, kind of in that same genre we're talking about. But I can check the house, make sure. Like my home in California, the hot water heater went, and luckily I have a camera in the garage, right? And I saw this little stream on the thing, and I called the neighbors, and they came in, shut off the water, and it's little things like that. And you wouldn't believe how inexpensive these cameras are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So protecting ourselves and our real estate and our security can be done with a $20 camera today and an internet service.
That's awesome. Great. This is where notes come in though, because I don't have to worry about any of that stuff. I don't own the property. It's not my problem. So it's insured, and whoever is living in the house has an insured, or if there's nobody living in it, I just do force placed insurance. But I don't have to worry about any of those kinds of issues. That's outside of my realm of things that I think about.
Yeah.
Unless you have a home in the wrong area and the insurance doubles or disappears, right?
That can happen. Absolutely.
I have clients who lost their home up in Pacific Palisades and stuff like that. State Farm pulled out 6 months before that fire.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah. I want to add a couple more things on this. So something I learned about, I took certification for REO, real estate owned, bank owned properties, where as an agent will be asked to go secure a property, and who knows who's in a vacant property, right?
Yeah.
Making meth or whatever. So the guy that taught it, he's like, go get one of these tasers, and it looks like a little flashlight, but it packs a punch. So you're not killing anybody, but and it's got a flashlight on it, actually. So it just looks like you're carrying a flashlight around, which is also handy when you're doing an open house or going to check out any kind of property.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I've got that.
So sad we have to have this discussion, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing our MLS provides for free is Forewarn. It's an app. So you can look up people, if say you're going to go meet somebody at a home, plug in their name and see if they got some kind of record, So I've been using that recently for some kind of suspect sellers that are getting a hold of me randomly. I don't think they're real, and I'm not finding them on there. So I'm like, well,
how many of us Google a prospect before we go or inconvenienced by a meeting or something like that? I put in their phone number or their name and just, I've occasionally been very surprised about finding people with criminal records and things like that. And so there's some easy things you can do in advance, right? Just like you said.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys solidifying my life choice of going into notes. So I thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've raised capital for some, big projects, and in the process, we had background checks run on all of us that were raising as a group. Some stuff popped up. So I was like, it's good to know about that ahead of time, so you know who you're working with. So yeah. Let's go to the next article from WTOP News in Washington, D.C. New federal workplace policies affecting local real estate market. There's an agent there, Eldad Moraru, saying that the return to office mandates are driving demand for city condos, while federal hiring freezes has sellers rushing to list their homes. So, we kind of hinted at this earlier.
Yeah, it depends on what you go to, like 5 different sources. They're going to tell you 5 different things depending on what they want you to know. That's everything, every news, every paper. And here's the thing: is like right now, this was in January, early January. The market in DC has been in turmoil for a long time. Prices have gone up, but they're thinking that there's going to be no market crash. All these people said they're always going to crash, and Trump's this and Trump's that. The prices were down from December to February about 9%. Okay, that's not a crash. It's $10,000 on a $100,000 house. And there it's probably a little bit more. But the housing market, as far as sales and buys, were actually stable up to about 5 or 6 days ago. So it's depends on where you get your news, and it's nuts, but it's right now it's still stable.
I think what we're seeing right now is a lot of I do sales training, and I teach people the $1 million rule. People make immediate and sometimes the incorrect decision emotionally. we've all done this where we didn't do our research and everything. We didn't weigh the checks and balances. We just reacted emotionally. Right now, we're getting. The news is better than Netflix right now. Okay, we're getting so much information, and I think people are they're overreacting to it right now. You can see it all over the place, and we got to wait and see what really happens. The market is the ultimate decider, right? What did I read in the Wall Street Journal or in the New York Times this morning? Kash Patel took 1,000 FBI agents from Washington and Virginia, and he said, you're getting out of the office, out of the cubicle, and he's sending them all over the U.S. to be cops again. That's a lot of people all of a sudden in real estate. Are they going to stay where they live, or are they going to move? What's going to happen? So we're seeing a lot of this stuff going on right now. So do we wait and see? Do we overreact? Do we go to our crystal ball? I think wait and see is more prudent.
Yeah.
This may also be an opportunity, and I think there's a further article more about this as well, but this may be an opportunity for those who are looking for some way of selling their houses. Consider doing it on seller finance and see if you can just take back a note. I'll buy that note if you're looking to cash out at some point, but it gives an opportunity for people who are looking for alternatives. If there's a flood on the market and people are having trouble getting financing, this may be some way where they can sell their home and get out of it while still carrying back some monthly cash flow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm looking up Zillow right now, and take Zillow with a grain of salt. As of yesterday, the average home value in Washington, D.C. is $594, down 2% over the past year.
But what will it be in 2-3 years from now?
That's who knows. It's like Washington is. You have to understand that area is a lot like certain parts of California, certain parts of Chicago, certain parts of New York. People are leaving those areas because just the taxes and all these different things. So what is the trend in all those types of areas that have high property taxes, higher restrictions? If you look at the trend, Washington, D.C. has been losing people.
Mm-hmm.
California,
California,
Illinois, New York, New Jersey, all those, they're all going south.
It's funny though. I live in San Diego and 2 hours south of LA, and people are leaving. You're right. There's been an exodus of people in higher income brackets or people who have companies and stuff. The people who can afford the movers and shakers are moving. You're correct. Mm-hmm. The funny thing is, my real estate still goes up. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It still goes, and I couldn't. I figured an adjustment by now. But it still goes up because the demand is so darn strong.
I sold at the top of the market in 2019.
Right.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Of course, COVID threw everybody off, but it just keeps
and COVID is where we thought as note investors were like, okay, COVID, that's it. Here we go. There's going to be defaults all over the place. And then it didn't happen.
Yeah, so I thought I was going to I thought I was going to buy a lot of hotels, several hotels.
Yeah.
We all survived. Most of us, in certain states.
So, in my mind, I'm still thinking, okay, so there's going to be something. There's going to be a correction at some point. It can't just go up forever, indefinitely, And so I don't know what's that trigger going to be. Inflation, tariffs, who knows? Who knows what that's going to be? But it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Right. What I'm seeing is, I just went to a conference concerning this, and it had a lot to do with the construction and also buying and selling in the market. They're saying that there's going to be some opportunities because the people that had been buying and their 5-year mortgage is up, or their balloon is up, or they're in that construction phase where it's taking them 2 or 3 years to start to build and then finish it. They're now saying, crap, my mortgage now is going to be 8%. So there's going to be some big opportunities, I think, in the next towards the end of 2025, where these people all of a sudden can't afford because they've been doing these mezzanine loans and these construction loans, and they thought that they were going to be in the 5 to 6, and now it's more in the 8, and they don't have the money.
Yeah, that's a significant difference. That can really throw you off, right?
Yeah.
Like all the syndicators I know, a lot of them got in trouble.
Yeah,
because they weren't writing conservatively enough. They might have been like in their head, oh, I'm writing this conservatively, but when it went so high compared, it just caught them off.
They're buying in certain areas at 3-4 caps. Arizona multifamilies, 3.5, 4 cap, and now all of a sudden, they did some hard money or some investment money to buy it. Now it's they've redone it. And now they need to sell it, and it's like, well, they can't sell it because now the debt service coverage ratio with the new interest rates can't cover what they put in to rehab, so they're having to sit on it. So now they have to. Well, do we refinance it? What do we do? And now the interest rates are not moving. As a matter of fact, the Fed rate, everybody knows that it cut, but because of the bond market and treasury markets, interest rates have actually gone up, even though that the Federal Reserve has gone down. So all these people are starting to get in trouble.
Yep. Opportunity.
Yep.
Unfortunately for some, unfortunately for others, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I'll go for it.
I was just thinking, I'd love to hear you guys, if you mentioned 2025, 2026, if inflation gets under control, if interest rates get lower, if everybody gets $5,000, if you're reading the news, what do you think will happen? And what do you think will happen at the end of this year or next year if we start seeing some real positive financial information? The demand will probably go higher, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. What they're saying is that, DSC is going to go up. LTV is probably going to go down as the banks sit there and say, okay, you know what? We're not all going to die. We're all not going to go bankrupt, but there's going to be, what they did is because of the loan defaults during COVID, and they've had to bail out or everyone's in kind of this catch-up phase with their debt. But I think that the defaults are still going to go up, which is going to give us some opportunity, even though LTV is going to go down, but they're just not going to have that room, that chance. And they're predicting that inflation's still going to be a little bit higher. And we are never going to see, I don't think we're ever going to see the interest rates like we did a couple of years ago. I think maybe they'll go down to 5.5, 6. But I think that's where it's going to stay. So people are just going to have to get in control and realize that this is the new reality. And the rental rates they're predicting, they're just going to be flat now because you cannot, there's still, I think just in Phoenix alone, we need 20, 30,000 more housing now. And because they're not constructing them like they did, it's going to have, the rental rates are going to be flat, even though expenses are going to be up. Cap rates are going to start creeping up a little bit. And because of that, with the supply and demand, I think the rental rates are going to be flat. So there's not going to be as much construction. So there's going to be opportunities to buy.
Love it.
I think with that,
Warren Buffett is sacking away a lot of money right now. If it was in the paper also yesterday, they're very cash heavy right now. What is he waiting for?
He sees it. He's the sage. He sees it. The oracle.
He does.
Yeah. Well, hey, let's take a break and learn from one of our sponsors.
Are you worried about where your money is headed in today's unpredictable market? At Accelerated Capital, their investors tell them that safety and security are their highest priorities. They want to wake up every day knowing their hard-earned money is working hard for them. In the best interest of their investors, Accelerated Capital carefully vets every opportunity. knowing that most of their investors want to avoid risky strategies and stick with more boring but proven asset classes and strategies. Accelerated Capital's team of seasoned real estate experts and financial strategists value long-term relationships and transparency. They're also there to help investors find a fit for their own personal goals. Accelerated Capital has options for both accredited and non-accredited investors at any stage of their investing journey. Visit AccelerateMyCapital.com to download a free copy of The Astute Investor and join their Legacy Wealth Collective private investor club. Or click Schedule a Call to book a short Capital Accelerator call today. To get started, visit Accelerated Capital at AccelerateMyCapital.com. That's AccelerateMyCapital.com. Accelerated Capital. Accelerate your wealth with alternative investments.
All right, back to the show. From House Beautiful, a look inside Kendrick Lamar's vast real estate portfolio. I guess he's got a bunch of luxury properties and some kind of more modest homes that he bought for family, but got a farmhouse in Brentwood. I'm not sure where that is. $40 million property. Is that California?
Yeah, near Beverly Hills.
Okay, gotcha. I'm not buying in that price range. So,
He's got like 5 homes, worth about 79 million.
Wow.
What could I do with 79 million in the hotel industry?
I'm curious what he's doing with those when he's not living in them. Like, do you rent that out? Like, how do you actually make that an asset?
Right. Well, that was my point too. Like, are these cash flowing investments? They're not. I don't think they're investments.
Interesting. Yeah.
But at least he's investing in real estate, which goes up. So.
Yeah, because in the articles that I saw, there's nothing saying that he has a portfolio for an investment. Any house could be an investment. Will it appreciate or maybe it won't?
Right.
Will the next fire take him out? Does he have insurance on the California ones? There's all these other questions, but it looks like some guy that is very wealthy, has 5 or 6 homes are worth $79 million. And, he has his family living in some, he has a couple for himself. And there's nothing to say that whether or not they're investment or he's just buying homes.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It's still
says they're trophies for now.
Yeah,
it's still the best investment anybody can make on a long-term basis. I've never lost money on a real estate home. I've always been careful with what's the 3 rules of real estate: location, location, location. I've always tried to buy in areas where I thought people wanted to live. If you can just live long enough, if you can wait it out, and if it's financially makes sense, you can rent it out to at least break even or make a small profit. You can always make money. I've controlled properties with options and lease options. I've done what Nathan was talking about, converted a lot of properties to notes. So I no longer had the maintenance, but I'm sure we all have properties here. I have a home. I'll just tell a quick story. I have a home in Winter Park, Colorado. I kind of showed that picture there. I got that home, 19 years ago. For $300,000.
Wow.
And it's a big home, and I always wanted a home. I like to ski, and I'm active, and I love the Colorado. Today, 18 years later, it's worth close to $4 million.
Wow.
And a lot of that had to do with COVID, what you were talking about before. This was a quiet, sleepy little mountain town in Colorado. And after COVID happened, everybody said they wanted to leave Denver, leave Austin, leave Texas, New Mexico, and they wanted to come up to the mountains, to the quiet places. And all of a sudden, real estate just doubled and tripled and people are building $5 million custom homes now in this little sleepy town that they never use. They come up for President's Weekend and 4th of July and Christmas, So where's all this money come from? And I tell people, what's the best investment you're ever going to make in your life? It's going to be your own home. Instead of,
I'm going to be up there tomorrow.
Yeah. Don't make somebody else rich. Get some sacrifices in your life. Give up a vacation or a new car or something, and get out of that rental and get yourself into your own home. Even if I started out in a small little one. My wife and I rented for years while I was doing real estate investing. Mm-hmm. We stayed in a little 1 and 2 bedroom apartment, and we're doing all this real estate, and all these properties and everything. And finally, we got to a point where we could afford to get into our own home and build from there. It's to me, residential real estate, and then eventually refinancing and investing in other good areas is the key to success in this country.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I went on a tangent there.
That's great. Yeah.
But I look at something like this, and I think, like Antonio said, they're really, for now, they're trophies. And if you take a page out of Robert Kiyosaki's book, he talks about these are actually all liabilities at this point. He's not actually making any money on these. And so how do you change that around? Convert it to a note, rent it out, whatever you're going to do. But cash flow is king. Cash is great. Cash flow is even better, in my opinion.
It is.
Yeah.
100%.
Passive income is how you survive.
Exactly.
Yeah. Real estate, there's a lot of gurus out there saying you're going to get rich quick in real estate. And we all know you can get wealthy slowly in real estate. Yeah. It doesn't happen overnight. So you always, when you're getting into real estate, do you also have passive income coming in?
Right. Yeah.
Wholesaling notes, things like that, or getting into the information side of the business. I did that. I wrote books. I started coaching, consulting, and things in real estate because I made all these mistakes. I figured somebody would want to learn about them, in real estate. So if you have that passive income, you can kind of feed that alligator, can't you?
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. So if Kendrick is listening, you can talk to any one of us. We'll help you out.
I don't think he needs
it. He's doing pretty well, writing some ditties.
Yeah.
Would you really want to own a $40 million home? I mean,
I don't.
Yeah.
No, I'm building a $40 million hotel.
Yeah.
Because
it produces
because
income.
it will cash flow and because I want to go to the rooftop bar and have a drink in my own hotel. That's
sure.
Yeah. How much do you need to be happy in life?
Well, I have a post above my office, and all of you, ladies and gentlemen that are listening, that are thinking about getting in real estate or you're going to be investing, don't make money your why. All of us have a why. Mm-hmm. And what's more important for me is I wanted to build a life I didn't need a vacation from. The money will come if you do real estate correctly. Mm-hmm. But I can work anywhere in the world and handle my portfolio. And that to me is more important. And doing it right and learning from your mistakes and having mentors, the money will be there if you do it right. So that should not be your motivation.
Yeah, I was listening to a podcast recently where he talked about what is the goal of your goal. So if you're out there trying to make money, why? What's your ultimate end goal? What are you trying to make all this money for? You can apply that to anything. Why do I exercise? What's the point? It's nice to exercise 3 times a week, but for what? What's your ultimate goal? And so try to figure out what is the goal of your goal. It makes all the difference.
I always defined it as freedom. That's my favorite word. Mm-hmm. And to me, freedom was to not have to worry about money again, so I could take care of my responsibilities to my family, to be debt-free, to never have to take vacations and just live where I wanted to live, and never have to. I'm a horrible employee, so I never wanted to work for another Fortune 500 company again. Okay. Right. So you got to define what is your personal freedom in life. Mine was to go to bed and never have to worry about money.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
Love it.
Love it.
Well, let's go to the next article. That was great. I love the side tangents. That's the gold right there.
There'll be plenty more probably.
Yeah. Let's see, from the Indianapolis Star via Yahoo News. Indianapolis fraudster behind multi-million-dollar real estate Ponzi scheme sentenced. Herbert Burt Whalen was sentenced to 41 months in prison after orchestrating a multi-million-dollar Ponzi scheme. So this is interesting. His business partner is former Fox and Friends host Clayton Morris. If anybody's been in the business, they probably run across him. I remember hearing about him years back, basically helping people set up and buy turnkey properties. So that's what they were doing here. So selling rundown properties, not really telling these investors like how bad they were, promising that they're going to make these renovations and get all this rental income, and then and even sending fake leases, and them making initial rent payments to deceive those buyers. Like, oh my goodness, where do we start with how bad that is?
It makes it look bad for all of us syndicators. All of us syndicators hate it when these types of news comes out, because it's hard enough, and when you have people like this, he deserves a prison time. I mean, it's just
41 months. I hope there's no parole, and it should have been 60. It should have been 60 or more.
Yeah, and in the article, and a $5,000 fine. Oh
that was
goodness,
Really? Can I share something personal with everybody?
No,
please.
No.
No. I didn't realize until a few years ago I received a notification that I'm a descendant of Nigerian royalty. Did you guys get that email?
No, you're lucky.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. And I'm very proud of my royalty heritage and everything. And the only thing I had to do was send them money and things like that. I met the one poor soul. This is a point of humor aside. I met the one poor soul who actually sent money, his life savings, to Nigeria. He thought he was investing in apartment buildings and things like that there. And it's like, how do I say what I want to say without sounding nasty?
Go ahead.
God made some wonderful, nice, naive people in the world.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to say the stupid word. I mean,
where did John Wayne? John Wayne said that life is hard. It's harder when you're stupid.
Thank you.
I like that.
There's so many, what's the old adage? If it sounds too good to be true, it is. It is. You can do so much research and check things out. And, I love the one thing I always tell my clients, I love that Missouri license plate. You know what it says, right? Show me.
Oh, the show me state.
Show me.
Okay.
Show me. Yeah.
Man, my first deal actually there was fraud involved. This poor woman, she was like in her mid 50s, I'd say. Some guy contacted her and she thought he was real, right? She was all in with this guy, and she basically sold her house and sent him all the cash, and then poof, he was gone. We felt freaking horrible. Like we bought the house from her. Had no idea. It was weird because we went in and gave her multiple options, including like a creative option. She ended up taking just a quick cash offer. And we were like trying to figure out why she would take that deal, because there was no immediate need from what she was telling us. She was trying to make some decisions whether to move back east with one daughter or move across town with another. And then all of a sudden she took that offer, and looking back, I should have maybe questioned that more. But she was just tight-lipped about it. And we found out later, and God, we felt horrible. Like we helped her and her sister, and we helped her move, doing anything we can. Just felt terrible, but I don't think she ever got that resolved. So yeah, maybe look for those red flags that don't seem too good to be true. So,
and any investment, if you're going into something, it's rare that it always goes 100% correct. You know, there's always going to be a bump here and there, but sending a fake lease, oh my goodness, that's awful.
Yeah, that's when
That's terrible.
And paying the investors rent money, you know, say, hey, look, I'm collecting rent. That's just.
Yeah. I teach sales, the art and science of positive manipulation, influence, persuasion to other people. But I also realize that there are some people in politics and in business who can use this power, the right words at the right time, to take advantage of naive people. They're good people out there, but they're naive. And some people have this hypnotic skill. We've all met, haven't we all met these kind of people who have this ability to use the right words the right way? They're so charismatic. Okay. And you don't want to anger them. They're so likable. And this is a skill, you know, that's very useful if you're an honest business person, to get people to know, like, and trust you. It's common sense. But there's people out there who also have this skill, and they know exactly what to say, how to say it, and how to manipulate naive people. And that's the tragedy of all. And my mom is, quick story, my mom is 98. I'm here in Pinehurst, North Carolina. She's still a New Jersey girl, shit kicker. She's great. And she gets phone calls and things all the time because they know her age through, you know, they can find out pretty easy. And she gets so much stuff. If it's anything, I hope Mr. Patel, the new FBI agent, I hope he goes after all these schemes, these Ponzi, these crooked telemarketers from other countries and stuff. I really, to me, I would elect a politician who said, we're going to put fraudulent telemarketers in jail right away. I mean, they can find us. Why can't the FBI find them?
Yeah.
Well, they're in Nigeria, or they're in India. I mean, they're not here.
I have an apartment building. I have a hotel there for you if you're interested. No.
Oceanfront property in Arizona.
Yep. Well, this reminds me. So a friend of mine was looking to get into a turnkey property years ago. And I think it's been a while, but I think we actually kind of looked at this group. And I don't know if it was Morris and Best or a different company name, but he ended up going, and I was trying to help him figure out which was the best turnkey company to go with. And he went with a different one. And there was some hair on it. Like they didn't get it leased up right away. But they actually did cover the rent payment. It wasn't like, you know, hey, we got a renter in there and you're getting payments. They were actually coming out of pocket to at least keep him, you know, even to pay his mortgage. He wasn't cash flowing, but anyway, it just goes to show every company is different, and some will stand by, you know, what they're doing. Actually, they covered that mortgage. I thought that was pretty amazing. So I was like, I'm glad I helped steer my buddy to the company that would stand by it, not be pulling this fake lease stuff and whatnot. So, but sometimes you don't know. But I mean, that's where, like, I've that same buddy, I helped him get into his first multifamily deal. Same thing. This was a deal in Panama City, Florida. He sent his money, wired it, and the next day Hurricane Michael came in and just destroyed that town. The operators sent pictures, like, with parts of the walls and roofs missing. Like, I'm like, oh my God, what did I get him into? But going back to fundamentals, it was a good operator. I knew who they were. They got in there with crews real fast, got it fixed up. You know, there was insurance money, got it up and running before a lot of other operators. And, you know, he had to wait a little bit, but he got 100% return on his money within a couple of years. He's like, he's good. So who you work with is super important. So you got to look at their track record and things like that. So I love telling that story because, I mean, that sounded like a disaster, but it turned out to be fine.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys have more stories, but hey, let's keep going. Our next one, multifamily dive. Senators take aim at price setting algorithms. We talked about this, I think, last month. Senator Amy Klobuchar.
Klobuchar.
Huh?
Klobuchar. You got to get that.
Yeah. They're reintroducing the Preventing Algorithmic Collusion Act. So it's basically they're trying to stop price setting on rents. So
whether they are or not, I guess we're not allowed anymore to have a property management software that says, hey, you're in Scottsdale, Arizona. This is the average rent in this neighborhood. And you do it. And so now, and this lawsuit is along party lines, right? The Democrats have filed a lawsuit, which is funny because they all want rent control, but they don't want this type of rent control. So I don't know, but the two biggest ones, I think it's the lawsuits with under Yardi and RealPage are the two big software that they're going after.
Yeah.
So I know RealPage came in and said, look, they're throwing darts. There's zero smoking gun. There's zero proof that they've done any of this stuff. And it's not their fault that they have a software that says, hey, because this neighborhood, these people make a little bit more money per year, you can actually raise the rent in this area. Is that illegal? Is that price fixing? Their Klobuchar says, they're just acting just like the mafia with price fixing, and they're throwing a lot of stuff out there, but I don't know. We'll see.
Doesn't everybody have to be on that same platform with the same data to do anything? Like, it all comes down to supply and demand and competition, right? So, and people are only going to pay how much they're willing and able to pay for rent.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Like, I don't know. What am I missing?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Government, help us get more hospitals and fire trucks and street lights and maybe some water when we have an occasional fire, and stay the hell out of our business. Mm-hmm. The free market will decide eventually. What you're talking about, James, you brought up, it's collusion, it's conspiracy to price fixing. That's not what that software and what they're talking about is about.
I know.
The market always decides, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. That's basic macroeconomics. Like,
you
can pay this much, you'll pay that much. If you can't, you won't. And then the price will adjust.
Yeah.
Career politicians have no idea what that.
No, you're right.
No, they can't even run. They can't even keep fire trucks and water supplied for people. I'm sorry. I have a lot of friends and family near who are affected by those fires. And a lot of it happened because of just stupid people. Sorry to get political.
You can do it.
Oh, okay.
You can do it.
Okay.
I just hope they don't move to Arizona. Stay in California.
Well, I love Arizona. Scottsdale is just beautiful. I mean, your real estate has just exploded there, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it's because the Californians are coming in and buying everything.
Yeah. Well, put up a wall.
That's why multifamilies. That's why the compression in cap rates. You look at the California buyers. It's like, wow, I can get 3.5%. That's better than the 2% I'm getting in LA. So so that's why a lot of I can get a 4-bedroom house for only $1 million. I can't even get an apartment for that. So it's just they come over and and that's the natural progression of supply and demand, right?
It is. The thing is, we gotta when people like myself move to other places, I live in other places. Don't Californicate the new places you live in. You moved away from a place because they did stupid stuff. Don't bring that stupid stuff to your new place.
Right.
You know, there's a reason why you move. There's a reason why people love Arizona and Texas and Florida, why they're all moving to these states. I have a client who moved to Oklahoma.
What?
From California. Yeah. Guess how much, guess what real estate, you know, you can still get a home in Oklahoma.
Right. A really nice home.
Yeah.
Whatever you had. Yeah.
And even Oklahoma is going up.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing. They're not moving to those other states, Texas, Florida. They're not moving there for the weather. Not necessarily.
Yeah. I know.
Maybe in part.
My next door neighbors, they're in tech, moved from Seattle, couldn't stay in Seattle. They moved to San Francisco, couldn't afford San Francisco. Mm-hmm. Came to my neighborhood. You know, their children's names Sycamore and River or something like that. And I started talking to them like, yeah, we can't afford it. We can't do this. We can't do this. We can't do that. You know, we're moving here. And then this last election cycle, I saw the signs in their yard, and I'm like, well, what? It's the same people. You're voting for the exact same people. Quit being, you know, it's like the Borg. If you're a Star Trek fan, they move over to these other things and they simulate. You know, they take over and. But yeah, okay, don't get me started.
No, it's good. You know, the thing about real estate is, you know, you got to stay informed. You gotta read the tea leaves. Use a lot of common sense. Am I allowed to say that kind of language? Common sense. I'm sorry. You know, 5 years ago, I told my clients to get out of San Francisco in the inner city. You know, and I love San Francisco. My wife and I used to go up there all the time. Go great restaurants. And now you go up there, you're tripping over street people, and it's dirty and everything else. And I said to, you know, I would want to buy real estate here, which is some of the highest in the world up there. I said, sooner or later, someone's going to wake up and say, why would I want to own real estate in such a badly run place?
Yeah.
You know, it's just common sense. And I think, by the way, I predict California. I think people are going to come around in California. You really don't, Mike? You really don't think they're going to get their shit together?
They just had a poll because, you know, Gavin Newsom is terming out. He can't seek a re-election. Who's the number one person on this California poll to take over for Gavin Newsom?
Kamala. What's her name?
Kamala's number one.
I can't believe.
They're not going to, but it's and you know, we see it in the hotel. I'll just really quick. I see it in the hotel industry, especially during COVID. You know, prior to COVID, we would buy hotels anywhere because we just, you know, if it cash flowed, if we made money, if it made sense, and you know, it's the same thing. It's luckily all of our hotels were in considered free states where we could make the decision on whether or not to shut down. I had a lot of good friends with a lot of performing hotels that went under because they were forced to shut down. And the banks don't care. The banks are like going, you know, we'll give you 3 months deferred costs, but then, hey, that $40,000 a month loan hits after your, you know, month 4. Mm-hmm. And they're not allowed to be open, you know. So we've really changed our focus on how we buy and where we buy.
Yeah. And if we see something, if we've invested in something and then we see something's changed economically or the culture or whatever, and it's not favorable, that's the time to sell, right? And take the money and put it into something smarter. That's you know, we're entrepreneurs. We're supposed to be, you know, adaptive, flexible.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We look for opportunities all the time, don't we? You know. What's been going on in some of those other states? Florida, look at Florida. What's going on? Florida used to be one of the cheapest places in the world to move to or retire to. Look what's going on down there now.
Everyone's moving there.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially Miami.
Yeah.
It went crazy there.
Yeah.
I think California, I don't think every now and then, every 30, 40 years, they have an awakening, a Ronald Reagan awakening, you know, and I'm hoping that they've been pushed over the line. See, the one thing that the LA mayor and all of them do, I'm sorry, it's not a political show. The one thing they did is they pissed off rich people and celebrities and Hollywood people. They pissed them off. That might be the last straw on the camel's back. That might get some political change there.
Yeah.
Never piss off Hollywood people.
Yeah.
All right. Next question.
All right. Next article from the World Property Journal: U.S. commercial borrowing to increase $583 billion in 2025, up 16% annually.
Yeah. I guess I'm in the commercial space, so there's maybe, so what we're looking at is maybe the reintroduction of office space might start coming up, because we now have a return to office. People, and those RTO type of companies, those return to office companies where they're forcing people to go back into the office, all of a sudden realize that, well, we don't have enough office space to house these people. So they're starting to buy more office space. So a big indicator for the commercial real estate in 2025 are these companies that are looking for office. You also have a lot of maturing loans that are coming out. I kind of spoke about that in prior comments. But as long as the banks sit there and say, okay, you know what, we're going to start loaning more for commercial, and the potential interest rate clients, so there's a couple maybes in there. As long as that increased borrowing comes up, then I think we'll be fine. But a lot of it has to do with they're expecting it, as long as different factors have to happen, though.
I don't have any comments. You other guys? Commercials.
That's my area.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, let's take another break for our next partner.
Are you looking to elevate your business through exceptional content? Universe Media Publishing is your gateway to success. We understand that in the world of business, content is king, but not just any content. Your business deserves content that captivates, convinces, and converts your audience into clients. At Universe Media Publishing, we specialize in crafting SEO-rich web content, persuasive copywriting, and marketing copy that resonates with your audience. We don't just write, we engage, we connect, and we deliver results. Imagine your brand's voice amplified, your message crystal clear, and your presence dominating the digital landscape. That's the power of partnering with Universe Media Publishing. Don't let your business just blend in. Stand out, be heard, and make an impact. Connect with us at Universe Media Publishing, and let's turn your vision into reality. Visit universemediapublishing.com today. Your story, our expertise. Together, we'll create magic.
Okay. From United States real estate investor: delisting nightmare. Homes vanishing from the market at a record speed. It says there's a 64% surge in home delistings. It's really paralyzed the market. Are you guys seeing that? They're talking single family.
I've seen this actually in conjunction with rising seller finance rates, where people are maybe taking it off the regular, retail listings and then turning to seller financing instead, where they're more willing to just sell it on terms and carry back a note. And I've seen there has been a dramatic increase in that in just over the last 2 years. And I think we're going to continue to see that rise. The interest rate question is an interesting one. If rates are around 7%, interestingly enough, if you're doing seller financing, typically it's going to be higher than whatever the bank is offering. So if the bank is doing 7%, a seller finance is probably going to be 8 or 9, maybe 10. I've seen as high as 11 in some areas. So that's going to be interesting to see how that continues to shift as time goes on. So I'm watching this one with a little more interest.
Yeah. And usually more down.
Yeah.
Well, every seller finance deal I go into, the seller wants everything. They want a big chunk of money down, high interest rate, high price, and then you got to figure out, where that lands, which is similar to, I'm in lease options, rent to own, so it's
and if it's
seller finance.
Right. And depending on how desperate the buyers are, depending on how desperate the sellers are, and then we'll kind of come to a happy medium there, and the market will decide. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think lease options are going to really be popular again. You know, I think you're going to get more and more as people are forced out of their homes, or forced, you know, the rents are higher. There's more, maybe some foreclosures or medical bills. You know, if interest rates keep going up and debt keeps going up, there's going to be some people that make good money that the banks won't lend to now because they don't have to. Yep. So I think that lease option is going to be, you know, get out of the apartment. Here's a house. You have the option to buy it. And I think that's going to be a very popular program in the next couple of years.
Yeah,
I buy lease options too, by the way.
There you go. Yeah, you know what's interesting about all this? Home Partners of America, backed by BlackRock, and Divvy, both the big hitters in the space I'm in with my company, Real Home Solutions, they both backed out in the last 4 months, like pulled the plug. They're, you know, keeping operations going, homes that they've already got, but they both were like, we're done. And, you know, I talked to a gal that worked for both of those companies, and you know, there might be multiple reasons why they pulled out, but it was really easy for them to go pick up properties with super low interest rates. Now it's harder. And of course that gets passed on to those lease option buyers. But yeah, I agree. And I hope you're right, Mike, that there's opportunity to help more people. And with these big players out of the market, there's more opportunity for those of us that are doing it. So
yeah,
Claude, we should team up and then maybe sell some notes to Nathan.
At least you said the magic word. I'm sorry, I ran out to go potty here. This is a long seminar. But you said the magic. I got started in real estate. Any starting investor, even if they have a little nest egg and they have good credit, sooner or later, if they want to build a career, you know, home business, whatever, in real estate, they're going to run out of capital. They're going to run out of money. So they have to find the right strategy. And for me, I was lucky. Somebody mentioned earlier about finding the principles of success, find a good mentor. My mentor, who was not only superb in sales, but he used options like a surgeon, a gifted surgeon uses a scalpel. And he taught me that it's better to control real estate and have all the same control without the obligations and liabilities and everything than it is to own it sometimes. It's much safer too, because you know, there's a time value to it. And I built my business when I ran out of cash and I was pushing my credit to the limit. I started using options, and then and I'm in residential real estate. Leases with options, and I built a whole life, a wonderful lifestyle, specializing in lease options. It's a phenomenal strategy. It's still a niche too, really.
Yep.
Yeah. You know, one of my best friends is, I guess, that mega mentor. I don't know, he was 1,500, 2,000 doors, lease option, and he does the seminars. And
who's that?
His name's John Burley. He's here in Arizona.
Yeah, I'm in his group.
He's the master at lease options. He's a real good friend of mine.
Oh, nice.
And I see him, I don't know, play golf with him. He's a really good guy. But the way that he teaches that lease option is really, really good. And I had a dozen homes lease option. But then I was like, oh, man, you know, they're kind of all over the place. And that's when I was like, you know, I just need to concentrate on hotels.
Yeah. Yeah.
Plus tenants. You know, there's something about tenants that just kind of rubs me the wrong way.
Tenants and turlets, right? The nice thing about a lease option, if you can control good properties in good neighborhoods with long-term leases with options, and then you can either sell the contract and create a note, Nate will like that.
Yep.
Or if you sublet or sandwich lease it, where you can raise the rent, you can get option money and everything else. You usually get a better quality tenant because you get something up front called option consideration, a non-refundable large amount of money rather than a security deposit on there. So when people have skin in the game, you get a better you get a more responsible tenant, and it minimizes the tenant and toilet stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, yeah, I'm the bank, right? I'm not the landlord. Don't call me. You know, if you flush something down the toilet you're not supposed to, don't call me.
Yeah.
You know, now if something's wrong with the asset, please call me. You know, if the roof is leaking, things like that. But it's nice not having to fix anything. And then they call me up and, hey, am I allowed to put tile? Am I allowed to like fix something? I'm like going, you can improve my asset all you want. You know, yes, please. And because they think that it's theirs, you know, it is. They have the first option. And there's so many, I think we're going to get into this where tenants were kicked out. They'd been there 5 or 6 years, you know, renting a house, and all of a sudden the landlord sells it because of the appreciation.
Yep.
And now they're stuck, and they've done this, you know, a couple of times. They just want a house that's theirs. They want to paint the walls the colors that they would want. And that's where it's so nice, you know. I had some lease option people that they co-signed for some kids. Kids, of course, didn't care, you know. They went bankrupt, and now all of a sudden the parents, because they co-signed these loans. These are people that still make good money, but there's medical debt. They co-sign. It's not that they're bad people, but the banks won't touch them. We come in and give them that second chance of ownership, you know, when I was doing lease option, and it's a win-win for everybody. It's a really good program.
Yeah.
I have had tenants where on properties that I lease purchased to, where they like what you were talking about, they put in decks, they put in jacuzzis, hot tubs, tens of thousands of dollars on a home they didn't own. They were just renting it with an option. And guess what? This one particular property, they must have put in $100,000 worth of, with permission. Do you think they bought the home?
They didn't.
They did not buy the home. Guess who gets the advantage of all those improvements?
Right. That's so crazy that people walk away. We've had that happen. But, you know, we do the Burley model, Mike. We've got one here in Denver. Love it. We've helped a family that was living in a crappy apartment where they were afraid to go out with their kids during the daylight, you know, and we got them into a nice home with only about 10 grand down. So that we do that model, but we prefer where we find the buyer first that has closer to like 10%, which is, you know, 50 grand or more here in Denver. They've got that much more skin in the game, and then we'll buy a house for them. So we do it both ways, but I love it because there's so many people winning when you set it up right. So
like there are tenants. I have a couple of houses still left because here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, I haven't heard from one of my tenants in 3 years.
Wow.
You know, they go by, they pay their rent, they live in their house, they fix it up. And the only time I hear from them is like, you know, Mike, am I allowed to do this?
You got to have the talk. You got to have the talk with the tenants before they move in. Even tenant buyers you have that parent to teenager talk with them. At least I do, and say, hey, look, I'll do everything. If you help me, if you take care of your responsibilities, you're supposed to pay me on time, take care of the minor maintenance yourself. If it's something major, call me. I said, but if you help me, I'll help you in any way I can. So you own this home someday. I'll take back a note or something. If I know you're a good risk, it stands to reason. If you don't pay me on the 1st, you get a phone call on the 3rd, and you get an eviction letter. You get an eviction letter on the 5th. You know, so how do we want to do business? You know, I'm pretty straight up. You know, because you're on that little honeymoon period in the beginning. That's the time. That's the time to be the adult in the room. Yeah. I think sometimes we're reluctant to tell people what their responsibilities are because we don't want to rock the boat in the beginning, the honeymoon period of a business relationship. And I think that's exactly the time when you do have to tell them what your expectations are.
Yeah, you nailed that. For anybody listening or watching that's thinking about doing this, there's a right way and a wrong way to do this. There's some subtleties to it, but the main thing is setting up those people that are being told no by the bank for success. Part of like our process is getting with a lender to have them get their eyes on it. because they're going to know all the different programs. And sometimes these buyers who we think aren't going to be able to get a loan actually can. So might as well just help them get a house now and get into a mortgage. But if they can't, we want to know like why they can't and what they need to do, and also how long, because we want to give them enough time. So I want to emphasize that if you're going to try to do this on your own, at least take that step, because as an investor, having a lender look at that it's CYA for you, saying, hey, I didn't put them into this position, which could have been, gone south all by myself. I've got a lender also looking at this, and then follow up, make sure you're following up, keeping track of their payments, all that. So little.
But you carry back that note. So just as a thought, you've collected down payment, you've collected monthly payments for however long it's been. Now you've taken back as a note. You can cash out on that note and get completely cashed out, plus all the income that you've collected in the meantime. And you can go out and do it again, and then come back to me another year later and say, hey, I've got another note for sale. There's my pitch.
I need to come to one of your events and get my head around the nose.
May 2nd and 3rd, Nashville, Diversified Mortgage Expo.
Awesome. Cool. Stick around. Nathan will give us the URL for that and stuff. So let's keep going. I love this. You guys are awesome. From Realtor.com, exclusive: woman reveals how property was stolen in identity theft, real estate scam with ties to international crime ring by Keith Griffith.
I have a personal story. My father-in-law owns some land in Colorado by the Red Rocks area, and he's had it for 10 years. In 2024, and luckily the brokers tried to contact him and did contact him, but there's a guy in California that was selling it and had a buyer for my father-in-law's property, and they were trying to steal it. And luckily the broker actually called my father-in-law, and he goes, no, I'm not in California. This is not me. But it happened, I think 5 or 6 times that these people were just these fraudsters were trying to steal his land. And so we finally contacted an attorney, and ladies and gentlemen, this stuff does happen. There are people that lose their lands. There's people that have land, go to the other state, when they finally retire, look, and there's a house on their land that had been there for 3 or 4 years. So you have to, there's no way to be 100%, but what you need to do is have these layers of protection. Put that piece of land or that house or this property in an LLC, and then have that LLC owned by your trust. And if you have these different layers, it makes it harder for them to do these things, because you can't just forge your name and buy it. But there's a lot of stories out there where, can you imagine going to your land out in Colorado or Wyoming and there's a house on it?
That's crazy.
And these people that built the house didn't know it. They bought the land and built $1 million house on it. And now what do you do?
Well, I had not heard that. I've heard of like land specifically being a target for this. And I've gotten calls as an agent from people trying to pull some funky stuff like that. So
I had one client, people moved into, it was his mother's property. She passed away. It was in probate. He was not, nearby, and people actually moved into the house.
Yeah.
They just,
Yeah, it's great. I've had empty houses. Like when I was doing the lease options, I'd have to sign, buy this house or whatever. I'd have people call me and said, I want to make sure that this was right. And I was like, what are you talking about? I've never heard of you. And they were contacted by another person and was told to, here's where you send your deposit. Here's where you sign your lease. You need to give this money. And the fraud was they're trying to not rent, but get the security deposits on houses that I owned, that I was renting. So you also have to worry about that, because what concerned this person is like, well, you're not going to meet me for the walkthrough. You didn't have the code for the lockbox, but you wanted me to sign a 12-month lease and pay you $5,000 up front and these things. So I had that a couple times with some of my rentals.
Yeah. Heard stories.
I'm a little surprised in this case that they sold the house to a company, an unsuspecting company. Why didn't they do some kind of a title search? Like, surely that would have been part of their due diligence.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's
Yeah, that's what it suggests in that article. Get title insurance. Go through title.
It's not.
But you know what? Like Claude was saying, there's people they sweet talk you. They say, this is not where we'll save you money. Just do this. And people are naive.
Yeah.
Or they're desperate, for a house.
I like what Mike said about the layers. Have an LLC or an S Corp, a C Corp, have it in a trust, have layers. And when you do a real estate deal, this is another story, use your own attorney. This is a big takeaway. Don't use other people's attorneys. They could be shills. They could be, make sure you always have somebody who represents your best interest. Your own realtor, your own attorney. And then you also, if there's something screws up, you have accountability too. You have other people who are licensed, who are insured and things like that.
And don't go through LegalZoom. Don't go to LegalZoom, download documents.
No comment. We kill our own.
Here's the thing. Know what your unique ability is. You are not an attorney. Don't go to Legal Doom, download paperwork, fill it out, because you have no idea. A real JD will sit there and laugh. And it's like, oof, yes, low-hanging fruit. Let's go after this person because they didn't do anything right. So, ladies and gentlemen, don't go cheap on your attorney either. Yeah. There's one thing that I learned, especially when I got into big syndications. Yeah. Who are the big guys going with? What attorney firms are they using? And you know what? I don't care if it costs me $10,000 more. It's $10,000 of relief that I have, knowing that they can't break through it. Mm-hmm. So you wouldn't skimp on your doctor. You want your airline pilots to be paid, I guess. Well, maybe not. But your attorney, especially the contract attorney, and for me in the hotel business, you have these ADA fake lawsuits and some other things, but you want them to be so adverse and so well paid that the nasty grams that they send these people, you're just like, oh, it's just, yes, please. It's just, and they go away. But do not skimp on your contract securities attorneys. It's well worth.
Don't give money outside of escrow to principal parties. Always use that attorney, the title, escrow, third party. Use that secure third party for all money, because that's what it's always about in a fraud, isn't it? How can we get money outside of escrow or outside of traditional business relationships?
Well, let's go to our next article from United States Real Estate Investor. Homebuilders slash prices. Housing market crisis deepens. Homebuilders are slashing prices 10 to 15%. It says.
Not in Scottsdale.
Yeah, you get a little bubble of gold in there, huh? Don't you?
And again, this one, I think, what's the date on that? February 15th. So that's pretty recent. But again, tariffs on top of that and things that are going to make building that much more expensive. I wonder, I don't know how much that's going to affect the market. Maybe not at all, especially, places like Phoenix, where it's going to keep growing because that's just what the market demands right now. Mm-hmm. Fine. But, in other areas where they're struggling, is that going to be a problem?
It seems to me that a 30% drop, home sales down 30%, means they were overpriced initially. Yeah, they thought the market was going to keep going up and up, and eventually, what is it? Diminishing returns. Eventually, it becomes unaffordable or impractical or just unreasonable, the pricing. So you adjust it.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, how much of it was speculatory building,
Yep.
and they didn't learn in 2006, 2007, so
Right.
they thought that the interest rates, man, low interest rates, a lot of people, a lot of interest, rents are higher, rents are as much as the mortgage, so why not build? So yeah, I think with that interest rate, with it being higher and cost to build is higher, cost of land to buy is higher. So I think it's a correction.
Yeah.
It's not a slump, or it's not this thing. I think it's a correction that happens in real estate all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Every market's different, and building, it's all speculative, right?
Yeah.
The tough thing with building it, like a fix and flip, you might have a 6 or 9 month gap between when you get that property, fix it up, and put it back on the market. But building, it could be 3-4 years, right? And that market could vastly change, which we've seen, and you get pinched. So
in a lot of markets where I've seen, it's happening in some areas in Arizona where there's so many Airbnb homes, and that was driving prices up, but it was also driving home builders to build more because there's a slump in the market as far as homes being available. But now all of a sudden these communities and the cities are pushing back on the Airbnb. So that's creating, and then the Airbnb people are getting out and selling. So now there's more houses on the market that are really nice that were Airbnbs. And I don't know if that's also affecting new construction, because now I can get a fixed up Airbnb and buy it instead.
Yeah, I'll buy them for co-living.
Yeah.
We're getting into renting by the room, solving the affordability problem, and those homes are already furnished, ready to go. In nice neighborhoods. So
That's right.
Yeah. Let's go to the next one. We're moving along here, getting towards the end. From United States real estate investor, ultra luxury real estate boom reshaping U.S. investments into 2025. Says the sales of $10 million plus homes skyrocketed 350%.
It's great to be an American. I see that in what hotels do well in certain types of environments. And one of the things that we're seeing is because everything was so expensive, gas, airlines, travel in itself, the regular hotels, the limited service, and maybe a lower full service, they're starting to struggle just a little bit, where it was the opposite in COVID. And what is actually increasing is it's the high-end resorts, because the really rich people don't care what the price of gas is. They don't care what the price of eggs are. They don't see any of this. So they're just full-blown price and long, and they have the money. And we're in a world of you do TikToks and you can make millions a year. It's just, there's just so much money available if you want to go out and hustle. And that's why we're seeing maybe a lower, a little slump in everyday houses, because the mom and pop with 2 kids, they're affected more by the economy. So that's why they can't afford these $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 homes. But who cares? If you're worth a couple $100 million, you don't see it.
Yeah, they kind of remain above whatever else is going on, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and there are people are making a lot of money. In tech, there's just all these startups.
And again, as entrepreneurs, so this was a couple of years ago when inflation we started feeling it. And my wife says, man, that grocery store, it used to cost only this, now it costs that. And so, as an entrepreneur, I said, it's fine. We'll just make more money. And she went, oh yeah, okay, that's fine.
I love that. I love that answer. I have a good friend. He's been married and divorced 4 times. And I went to him once and I said, Ed, you know, you've done so well in life. And every time you start to get really far ahead, I said, you end up getting divorced and you got to pay for someone else's your stepchildren in college and everything. And I said, how can you stand it? And he gave the answer. He said to me the words that you just said.
Yeah.
You can always make more money. I love that answer.
Yeah.
And in this country, you can.
Yeah.
Right.
In this country, you can. We're based on entrepreneurism, on free enterprise. I mean, you know, anybody can open up a lemonade stand.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Let's go to our fun news items. Man, I cannot talk today. Global English editing. 8 morning habits of people who will never truly be happy, according to psychology.
Mm. Yeah, I see that in the younger generations, mainly. You know, I'm Gen X, the generation I just don't give a shit. You know what you think and what you do. You cannot offend me because I just don't care.
Yeah.
And that's a really good way. I choose whether to be offended, you know. And here's the thing: I'm never really offended. It's just like, you know, me being prior service military. It's like, oh, you definitely can't be offended because they make sure to try to offend you. But here's the thing: is I don't chase likes. You know, a lot of us, if you pick up your phone, it's the first thing you do when you wake up. Is the first thing you do before you go to bed, and you post in like, how many likes did I have? And if you don't get 50 likes or 100 likes, then these people actually get depressed.
Yeah.
You know, and they get upset. So it's, you know, and another thing that was really, really interesting that I learned is, on average, the human being has about 20 to 40,000 thoughts per day.
Yeah.
80% of every thought that we have is negative.
Mm.
And 90% of those negative ones are reoccurring. So there are things that you thought about 5 years ago that is still ruining your life today. So how can we cope, and how can we turn those negative thoughts and not dwell on the past, or, you know, I'm not good enough. Oh, I just need one more seminar and I'll be ready to buy something, you know. And that's, you know, it's a big thing. But the social media is one of the things that's really, really hurting people.
Yeah, for sure. I'm trying to think, like, not digest as much and put out more, share what I know. Like, but it's hard though. You get sucked in to those rabbit holes.
You know, I own one of those cyber trucks. You either love it or hate it. But the people that hate it let me know that they hate it. And I just sit there and go, Thanks for giving me, saying that I'm number one. Thank you. You know, you don't get upset with it. You know, but there are people that are in these blogs and these forums that, you know, how can I get people not to hate it? You know, they're calling me a Nazi. You know, and I'm like, why? Who cares? Say, okay, fine.
Yeah. I roll over and check my phone for the weather. I just want to know. We live just outside of the Rocky Mountains, so 2 days ago it was -20 Fahrenheit, and today it's 49. So I have to be checking the weather because it can change like that. So that's what I check. News articles, whatever else is going on. You know what? I mostly don't care. Like you said, Mike, it's the same kind of thing. Gen X. I don't care. Whatever's going on, I'm just going to do what I do and go make some more money.
Amen.
Yeah.
The article said other things: skipping mindful practices, rushing through breakfast, avoiding exercise, and neglecting personal goals. And they had reasons for why those are bad. I think we can all figure that out.
Yeah.
And I think going back to, I think what you were saying, Mike, like mindset, overcoming that 80% of negative crap is so important, especially like as I've gotten into real estate. This is a challenging business for different reasons, right?
Absolutely.
So you have to have your mind right and always be working towards the positivity, right? You know?
And it's looking at these younger generations of real estate entrepreneurs, because they're so savvy in the software and the social media and doing things right. It's hard for me to sit there. It's like, man, this guy's 20 years older than me. He's 10 times my income. He's 10 times, and then it's hard. I have to, it's like, whoa, wait a minute, I'm doing pretty good. It's like, why are you even just, man, I missed out on that. It's hard. It's human nature. But you just got to stick to who you are and just be you and not worry about what other people are doing.
Yep.
Decided a long time ago, it's just about being intentional. So why am I doing this? Because I have a reason for it. It's not reactionary. It's not based on fear. I'm doing this because I have a purpose.
Yeah.
Claude's got something. What do you got, Claude?
No, I got 38 notes here I took. This triggered me, this topic. I mentor people one-on-one. I've been doing it for a long time. And first question I always ask somebody, because I got a lot of people in real estate and financial services, and we talk about sales. And first thing I say is, how many people did you speak to today, last week? And if I start getting the BS excuses, the dog ran away, my grandmother, his wagon wheels broke again, or something like that, I get out my box of Boohoo tissues. I have a box that says Boohoo, and I start doing this. And I tell them, listen, you become successful when you take full responsibility for yourself. You can blame the weather, God, your in-laws, the economy, politicians, lawyers, even lawyers. You can blame everybody, but if you can pick up the phone and talk to people, you can make money. If you have a good product or service that's honest, and you have accountability, you got to take responsibility for yourself. And the other thing I just wanted to say is you got to get into a routine where every day, I spend 30 to 60 minutes a day on marketing in my business. I speak to 5 to 15 people a day. I do follow-ups every day. I am not a workaholic, but I take full responsibility for my business. And that's the focus, the intense focus you have to have. And the other thing, last thing, because I saw the exercise, and number one problem, you go into Walmart's changing their name. It's going to become called Whale Mart soon. Okay. I mean, when, and I'm not trying to be nasty here, but you got to get into routine, not only in business, but you don't want to be no matter how successful you are, you don't want to be the richest guy in the graveyard. Okay. You got to take responsibility for your health too.
Yeah.
I run and swim every day, and you guys all look in good shape and everything like that. And what we're seeing from a lot of younger generations is they're not taking care of themselves. For some reason, they didn't get into the program or something like that. When I was a kid, there was a John F. Kennedy physical fitness program, I remember, on it, and the thing about it is, if you do a little exercise every day and you don't eat all the, you put down the Twinkies once in a while, you can live a long, healthy life in this country and enjoy all that money you're making.
Yep.
I'm sorry. I'll get off my soapbox. Pigeons are on the shoulder.
And something you can do that really helps me to focus, because ladies and gentlemen, it is all about focus when you're an entrepreneur. You're either an employee or you're an entrepreneur. And a lot of people want to be entrepreneurs, but they need to be employees.
Yeah.
I set up and my assistants and my team, we set up a default calendar. And Monday at 9 a.m. we do this. At 10 a.m. we do this. And it focuses us and gives us something to look forward to, and something that if not, you see people on Facebook, they're on social media, but we make it rain on these days. We do these things on Tuesdays. I do all my podcasts on Tuesdays, but you have a calendar. If you go into life waking up, it's like, what do I feel like doing today? It doesn't work as an entrepreneur or a real estate investor. You have to have that discipline.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question? I was just wondering if you guys do the same thing, because usually when I talk to successful people, we have a lot of things in common. I write things I want to accomplish or things to do every day, or sometimes the night before, and I get a rush when I write them. I got 5 things done out of this list of 20 things or something. Do you guys do the same thing?
Absolutely.
Something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
100%.
Yeah. Don't you love when you're crossing those things out, you just take them off your list finally?
Crossing out. You know, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't need to be on anything. But well, here's the thing. I'm at that age where I'm going to forget those things that I needed to do. So I have to write them down.
Yeah. I had the same problem. I bought a book on how to improve your memory, but I forgot where I put it.
So, and then on that list, on that list of things to do or things to accomplish, always up on the wall there's my goals for the year. And so all of those things kind of point back to those goals. How am I accomplishing those things on a day-to-day basis?
Yep. And it's good to have those goals, right? You know, you have the big goal, and then you have the mini ones, you know, the minor, because if you only have that big goal, it may seem unattainable.
Right.
So you do these little stepping stones working up towards that big goal. And it's more fun that way. It's like going, hey, you know, if I do this, I get to do this, you know. And, you know, I did one, I had one of my goals. We have Barrett-Jackson, which is like a big car auction down here. And I said, you know what, if I do this and this and this and this, I'm going to go Barrett-Jackson, get a bidder's pass, and maybe buy something. Well, happened to have 3 bourbons. Car come up and I bid, and I was like, I'll never win it. And I ended up winning it. And then it's like, okay, how am I going to tell my wife? It's like, got a car. But the only reason I even considered that is because I met these certain goals that allowed me. And Barrett-Jackson's been here for forever. And you have to have the discipline to not think emotionally about it. You know, do you need it, or do you want it, or do you have to have it? And if you just want it, you don't need it, set a goal to reward yourself for doing it.
Yeah.
Or wait till the next morning when the bourbon wears off. And then you say, do I really, how many times have we said, I want to buy something? And a lot of times I say, let me wait till tomorrow morning. And then, isn't it funny? I don't need that. Why did I even, you know?
Yeah.
But
I have a fun car in the garage now, so
you deserve it.
It's fun.
It's all right.
Nice. Well, that covers the news portion of the show.
Yeah, we have nothing to talk about here.
We could keep going and going, but I'd like to thank our sponsors: United States Real Estate Investor Advertising, Accelerated Capital, Universe Media Publishing, and of course, you guys, awesome guests, Nathan Turner, Claude Diamond, and Mike Stoller. Nathan, let people know how they can connect with you and come to your event too.
Yeah, for sure. So we've got 2 things. So I've got my fund. If people are interested in looking into notes and how to invest passively, happy to talk to you about that. If you're looking at more hands-on approach, we've got our conference, Diversified Mortgage Expo, coming up May 2nd and 3rd in Nashville. For anybody on any level of note investing, if you're brand new, all the way up to people that have multi-million-dollar funds. And then that's diversifiedmortgageexpo.com. It's a no selling, no pitching event. Just come and learn, network, and grow.
Fantastic. Thanks. Stoked to have you on again. Claude.
I have nothing to sell. Is it okay? Can I give stuff away though?
Sure, whatever.
Yeah. I've written 9 books on sales and real estate and everything. One of my most popular is a business novel. The mentor teaches the gut sales method. It's basically a simple 3-way method that I developed from my mentor, learning how to ask questions, how to be a charismatic seller, a hypnotic seller. And it's a wonderful story with a happy ending. The salesman, well, I don't want to give it away. It's free to anybody. Send me a text. It's right there on the screen, 619-206-5960. Let me send you a gift. You're a wonderful audience. Thanks for putting up with our bad jokes and political opinions and everything. But here's my gift to all of you. Just send me a text and say, Claude, I want that free shit. And I'll send it to you, okay?
Nice.
What did I just do, by the way? What did I just do?
Tell me.
Got people to call you.
Right. It's called attraction marketing. I don't spend any money on marketing. I just give things away all the time.
Lead magnet, maybe.
It's that easy. We'll talk about that maybe at another session.
Nice. Mike.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Get this. I have a syndication open in Spain. If you can think about owning a castle, owning an estate, we have under contract a 1,000-year-old estate, 40 miles northeast of Barcelona. And it was ranked by TripAdvisor one of the top 25 small hotels in all of Spain. So we have an open syndication for that, and you can get a hold of me at it's Gateway Private Equity Group. So the website is Gateway PE, as in private equity, gatewaype.com.
Fantastic. I'm writing that down. Cool. Is that just for accredited investors?
It is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did that with non-accredited, and it's not got accredited.
Awesome. Well,
yeah.
Cool, guys. Again, I'm your host, James Brown. Feel free to connect with me personally. Just go to linktree/partner with James Brown, or you can go to acceleratemycapital.com and download my free book, The Astute Investor, our lead magnet. My partner, Toby Hansen, actually wrote that. And anyway, again, thanks to you guys. Thanks to Antonio.
Good book.
Awesome. Thank you.
Right on. Thanks again to our founder and producer, Antonio Holman, pulling the strings in the background with United States Real Estate Investor. Follow and subscribe to This Month in Real Estate Investing at thismonthinrealestateinvesting.com or your favorite podcast app. It's on all of the channels. And if you run across any interesting news or events or have suggestions for expert guests like these guys here, feel free to email Antonio at UnitedStatesRealEstateInvestor.com. And when one door closes, another opens to financial freedom. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.